Let's understand more about queues. Imagine an online food delivery app. When a customer places an order, we don't want the customer to wait until the kitchen confirms and driver accepts the order. We just queue the order and process it later. That is what message queue helps us to do. It decouples the order placement from the order processing. Producer sends message quickly and move on. I'm gonna show you the demo of this line. Producer sends message quickly and move on. Consumers process messages at their own pace. Actually, queue acts as a buffer. Queue is like a line in bank, first in, first out. Under the hood, RabbitMQ is implemented the first in, first out design or algorithm pattern. RabbitMQ stores messages in the queues until a consumer picks them up. Producer never talks to consumer. A queue is a durable. This is the important concept. There is a property in durable. You can set that while durable to true. You can also do that here. Durable to true. Durable to true means can survive broker restarts if configured. Queue will be survived, like queue will exist if application restarted. Durable means application will have a queue when it will be restarted. So to make sure the queue, to keep the queue after the RabbitMQ restarts. If RabbitMQ restarts, make sure queue will exist. Maybe there are a couple of messages in the queue. If you did not set the durable, the messages will be lost. Persistent, so messages survives, RabbitMQ restarts. This one is also important property. If RabbitMQ restarts, do you wanna keep your messages? If you want, you should add that property persistent to true. Acknowledge to tell RabbitMQ that message was processed and it can be removed. We are using here. Acknowledge, please, I acknowledge the message. Now you can remove that, right? So producer will have a queue. Producer basically talk to the queue and consumer is listening to the queue. We will also have exchange. We'll talk more about exchange in future videos. Now I want to show you a demo. Remember we were defined two ports. This one is for graphical user interface. When you go to the localhost 15672, you will see this graphical user interface. You can see your connections, you can see your channels, exchange, queues, and admin. Right now I have two queues, task. If you see how many messages you have, you can also look up the messages. How many messages do you want? Let's say I want to get 3 messages. If you will not have any message, it will display you don't have any message, right? Let's say if I start the consumer, my consumer will consume all of the messages, right? Message number 1, 2, 3, and 3 messages. Let's say I'm gonna run the producer and send the message. This time, let's say I'm gonna send the message number 1. Oops, I should run the producer. Now the message sent. Let's send the message. My consumer is stopped now. You should do the same stuff. My consumer is stopped now. I'm gonna send the second message. If you go to the queues, you will see the message is ready is 1. You can see that. So now the two message is ready to deliver. You can see that. If you want to get all of the 2 messages, you can do that. You can get that this is the message number 1, this is the message number 2. If I start the consumer, it's going to consume all of the 2 messages. That's the concept of producer consumer. Whenever the consumer ready, it's going to consume these 2 messages. Now we're going to build our email queue. First, I have to present the problem. Let's say you are building a large e-commerce based application. Let's say Amazon or Netflix is another different example. Let's imagine the Amazon e-commerce based application. User signs up, you get the notification. hey, you have successfully created account, or they send, please click on the link to activate the account or to confirm the account. If there are multiple users, let's say 10,000, 1 million, 100K users are signing up in, let's say, in 1 hour, or login in 1 hour, we have to send the email, either user login or either user sign up. So if you will not add a queue, your maybe email sending will take 3 to 5 seconds. You are doing some processing here, so it will take some time, right? Then your API performance will be slow. Your application will be so slow, you cannot be able to scale the application on 1 million, 10 million users. Let's say 10 million users log in 10 minutes. Your API will be slow. Each has to wait 3 to 5 seconds, and it can slow your API. On the other hand, this is the problem RabbitMQ solved. User sign up, you send the confirmation email. You have to send the confirmation email, or user login, you have to send some email. Here you will schedule the email sending part into the queue. This would be on a separate process or separate thread, right? And email queue, your application will not be dependent on wait or API queue on your API performance. Maybe it can take 3 seconds, 5 seconds. This will handle the asynchronous part. Here we are doing like, it will be behave like a synchronous. It has to wait for 3 to 5 seconds. No doubt Node.js is asynchronous, but your application will be slow on multiple users, like 1 million. So the queue will be it will work in parallel. Let's say if 10 users completed for, let's say, the operation for 10 users completed in 10 seconds or in 1 second, it will send the email. So now the application will be scaled. So this API performance slow part will be removed. We have scheduled that part to RabbitMQ. It's a separate server, right? This is how RabbitMQ is very useful. If you know this use case, you will be able to understand RabbitMQ very effectively. Now we're going to build this type of scenario in our simple demo application. First, let me show you the demo. I'm going to run the producer, email producer. It's going to send the message to all of the consumers. This one, email, hello, subject, body. And consumer is running here. Consumer received the message, this one. And this consumer is also received the message. You can have multiple consumers. These are all the users. Let's say 2 users signed up. So our producer sent the message. 2 users signed up, or 1 user signed up, producer sent the message and to the queue. And these are all the consumers, right? And this consumer will send the direct email to the user. This consumer code will send the email here. Here we need to process the email. This acknowledgement will send, hey, I have consumed the message. We're gonna also have prefetch method. Prefetch means, let's say if there are 10 messages in the queue for consumer, prefetch means please consume 1 message at a time. Otherwise consumer will be overwhelmed with 10 messages. So prefetch is used a strategy, 1 message at a time. Let's build it from the scratch. I'm gonna move into my previous code. What we're gonna do, one more thing, we're gonna create a common connection for producer and consumer. So we're gonna keep connection management in one file. Let's import AMQP, and we need channel from RabbitMQ. From AMQP lib, this should be a channel. Let's create the connection object. I try to, this one is any type. I try to get this connection type, but it is not working. That's why I'm using the any type here. By default, it's a null. I would like to export this function. Export this function. Name should be get connection. I don't need to provide any params here. By default, connection is null. If there is no connection, then you should create the connection. Connection. I'm gonna copy this code, this connection string. This one. Oops, this node. This one is connection amqp.connection.connect. Here I'm gonna provide my connection string. It's gonna give me the connection object. Here I can log the message connected to RabbitMQ. Next, we can also listen on some events. If error occur, we need to handle that case. Otherwise, you should not be able to understand what is going on. I can log the message. RabbitMQ error. RabbitMQ error. Or you can also log the message. One more thing, I wanna handle close event. I don't need to provide anything here. If close call, this method will be run. If there is an error while closing connection, it's gonna throw the error. RabbitMQ closed connection, RabbitMQ closed connection. Yeah, if connection closed, it's gonna run this one. Or you can console.log or something like that. If there is connection, then we should return connection. And finally, we're gonna have another method, function create channel. We're gonna use this method in producer and consumer. Here I can say const connection, await, get connection. We're gonna use the same connection for producer and consumer channel. Connection.create channel. And finally, we're gonna return channel and connection. So I think I did not use the channel type. I did not use that. Get rid of this. This is our simple code. Now this should be, let's say, the email consumer, or you can create a separate folder for consumers and producers. I'm gonna put that code here. I'm gonna put that code here. Let's rename that to email consumer. Email consumer. Here it should be producer, email producer. Write producer first. Instead of creating new connection, it's a best practice to share connection, same connection between consumer and producer. I'm gonna use the create channel. Create channel. Why I'm not getting suggestion? Export. I forgot to add export. Create channel. Now I got the channel. For producer, I also need connection and channel. Right. Now channel.assert queue. This should be the email queue. Email queue. Durable, when queue will restart, I want you to have this message to keep my message. Waiting for the messages in the queue. Assert queue, waiting for the messages in the queue. Let's create the task. What I want to send. Actually, I have to write this code in producer first. Get rid of this one. Now I have email queue. Let's create the task, or what do I want to send? Type should be email. Email to should be hello@example.com, and subject should be welcome, and body should be, I can say, thanks for sign up. And we should use the send method here, channel.send to queue if you want. Yes, channel.send to queue. We gotta provide the queue name, and let's convert into the buffer. JSON.stringify task. And persistent should be true. Persistent means if I want to acknowledgement, right? Console.log email task sent. And I'm gonna add some timeout, otherwise it will not work. A little bit delay for 1 second. After 1 second, then we should channel.close. Make sure it's async, and await connection.close. Now we're gonna build email consumer. Channel, I don't need connection here. Get rid of these two. Email queue, channel.assert queue durable, waiting for the messages. I don't need here waiting for the messages. I don't need jar. This one should be consume. This one is async. If message will be received, will be parsed. I can log received message, right? And I can say processing email. You can do that. Here we are sending, let's say, SendGrid or any email provider tool we are using. Processing email. This should be a JSON.parse. I can use message.content.toString. And finally, we can simulate that. Let's say it's gonna take some seconds. Resolve, set timeout, R and 2000. Wait for 2 seconds. Here I can say email sent. This one is used for only demo purpose. Let's say we are calling the SendGrid API to send the email. SendGrid API, let's say 2 seconds. So we have simulated that. Here we can convert into a task. This one. We can use that task, or task, do that, and task.to. Finally, we have to acknowledge my like I have processed the email. This one should be any. Now first we need to start the producer. You can use run the project npx node. Assert queue is not a function. RabbitMQ, we are returning the channel. This should be await. Connected to email task sent. RabbitMQ connection closed. This one ran, right? Because we are calling the close connection here. Whenever you can close the connection, it's gonna call this code, this one. So now message is in the queue. we can double check that from localhost 15672. You can check the queue. This one is my email queue. When I run the consumer, you should see the message. If you will not see the message, maybe there is an error. Oh, I think I processed. A consumer was running. That is why I think it has processed. Message is processed. Email consumer, now there is no message. This one is, oops. Now my consumer is ready. I have to run the producer code. npxts-node source producer producers email producer.ts. You can see waiting for the processing email. I received that message. Email sent to wait for 2 seconds. Email sent to this one. Let's say another consumer is running. If I run that, email consumer is running here. I'm gonna send the message. You should see the message on both sides. Email consumer. Here, this one got the message. If I clear everything. Producer, this one received, email sent, but this does not receive. That's an issue. That's an issue. I think I did not use prefetch here in the email producer or email consumer. Did I use prefetch? Prefetch. No, I did not use the prefetch. Channel.assert queue. Wait. Not a wait. Channel.prefetch. Prefetch. Fetch is 1. Now both consumers are running. This one received, but this does not receive. Then we were getting only message in one consumer because we are sending the single message. If we send the array, I want you to create the array and add the task and add the ID, type, to, subject, party, and wrap it inside the array. Channel.send queue, this should be the same. What we're gonna do, let's say I'm gonna clear everything, clear it. First start consumer. Let's start consumer. Consumer are running. Now I'm gonna send the message producer. You can see ID 1 is processed here, ID 4, ID 5, ID 8 is processed here, ID 10 is processed here. Here you will see ID 2, 3, 6, 7 or 9 is processed here. But in real world scenario, maybe this user logged in or this user signed up. We only want to send the notification to this user. We don't want to send notification to this user, right? We're gonna implement this scenario in the later modules. Right now you got the point.